So to start here, I think you have some of the absolute best co-stars in this movie. So can you tell me one thing about Kaniehtiio and one thing about Wunmi's approach to their work that feels uniquely them that you really appreciated or admired?
Oh my gosh, yeah. I couldn't agree more. I do. I was blessed with like the most brilliant co-stars in this movie. God, Wumi is she is as a human being, like she when people talk about like somebody lighting up a room, that's absolutely her. And yeah, she was really thoughtful and like really wanted to um like feel every inch of like not only what her character Sophie was going through, but what everybody in the room is going through. She's playing someone who's like really empathetic and sensitive and can kind of see what's going on more so than any other character in the film. And like energetically watching her get to that place was really, really cool. And Kaniehtiio, I've said many times that I'm like obsessed with her. I followed her around set like a baby bird. Like she's so cool, such a badass. And she had she in that kind of badass Kaniehtiio way, she would just kind of like um be very, very pragmatic. Like they were really on opposite ends of the spectrum in terms of the way that they worked. And I remember at one point, we were in a van heading to set, and I think Wumi was like, guys, should we sing songs? And the first person to guess which song it is, like wins. We'll make a little game. And Ganya was like, oh my God, you're such a theater kid. She was just like so like stoic and sarcastic and funny. And yeah, they actually like seemed to have in the way that they were like kind of opposite ends of the spectrum as people, it was similar in terms of how they approached the work. And I think they actually ended up the closest out of everybody on the film, which I loved. Like they couldn't be more different, and they like went away with this incredible friendship.
It does not surprise me to hear that. Perfect fits for their particular roles. I also wanted to touch on the producing that you're doing more and more of now. And I was wondering, is there any particular past project where you noticed that itch to produce first start to creep in, where, maybe there was something about the way the set was run that made you think, like, I have a better way to make that happen more efficiently?
Oh my God. I feel like you're calling me bossy, and you're not wrong.
You called
Um,
yourself bossy during our last conversation, so it was your words.
um, yeah, I definitely feel like there have been many projects where I'm convinced that my approach would be better. And of course, we all come in with our own ideas and we're all often wrong. But yes, there of course have been many times where I'm like, I wish that I had a little bit more like authentic power on this set to just maybe implement a little bit of different approaches or whatever. Um, but I think with this one, I was surprised. I was more involved in the cuts in post production than any other film before. The movie is very personal to me, so it was important to me to get it right every step of the way and to feel like I had an eye on what Alice was going through and the way that we presented it, and trusting that we could follow Alice's experience and believe her, I guess, rather than leaning into showing maybe Simon's behavior as the kind of evidence for what's really going on in the film. Yeah, there were a lot of different versions of the cut, and it was also really interesting to me to see the way that like these tiny changes in the edit really can change the feeling of the film overall, even though they're really small changes when you think about it.
Oh my, I have to imagine that experience is going to come in handy big time as you see through your directorial debut. Actually, speaking of that, I'll jump there next because the last time we spoke, you talked a lot about the pressure to, feel as though you were making the folks behind the monitor go like, yeah, we got it with your bag of tricks. And, having worked on some of your directorial debut at this point, I was wondering, have you figured out maybe a better way to give give your cast positive reinforcement, but also without making them chase it like that?
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. I actually was surprised by, like, the first thing that comes to mind is I think a lot of the producers um were surprised by the amount of stuff that I was doing with the actors in the film, where I think a lot of filmmakers, I don't know, like, if whether it was in a program they went to or whatever, but that I think there's a lot of bad rumors going around about what you can and can't say to actors. So there was a lot of stuff that I would just, talk about with actors that people were like, I didn't know you were allowed to do that, or I thought that was something you weren't supposed to do. Like, it's weird. We're sort of like treated as these both like as like insane divas and as like these delicate little eggshells. So it sometimes you're like, just tell me to like clench my jaw. Like, like if it's like everything's working, but like right at the end, just clench your jaw and then we're good. Great. And equally there are scenes where it's like, I'm just going to give you all the space that you need and we're going to go until you're happy. And like, I think that both of those things are valid for a whole movie and a whole performance. So, yeah, that was a really fascinating thing to me, that so many people were like, oh, I didn't know you were allowed to talk to actors like that. Because I do think that there's like a rumor going around that we are basically crazy children, which is not true. We're barely people, but yeah, I thought that was interesting.
I mean, we're all on this side, basically children also. So I kind of get it. Going back to your personal, bag of tricks that you had mentioned, what is one tool in that bag of tricks that you found most difficult to let go of? But then also, what is a new tool that you now have in that bag of tricks that is useful that you can credit to Alice Darling?
Oh, that's interesting. I mean, I guess there's not like specific things. It's not like um uh yeah, I guess I can't think of like a great example, but I do kind of know the feeling in the air when it's like, oh, I know what they're looking for, and it's, like a moment where when I'm looking at that character, my eyes kind of light up, and when I'm looking at that character, um, I look sort of forlorn or something. It's, it's like just sort of reading like what somebody wants out of you, and I know how to kind of fake that thing for them, and to actually trust that I know what the experience is, and I know what it felt like, and that I can like access that in my body now and put it on camera, and not actually get caught up in what the people behind the camera want, was like a really great exercise in self-trust.
This movie is like bottled up all that confidence you would ever need to have self-trust in yourself. You're so good in this movie. I cannot wait to see the movie you're directing. Congratulations.
Thank you.